Hi everyone, today I'll be unboxing the new A5 size of the Kokuyo Jibun Techo Days. This is my third year using a Jibun Techo, but each year I've used a little bit of a different size. So in a follow-up video, I will show you the differences between the three. So for example, when I first started, in 2020, I used a B6 Slim. This is the Jibun Light. Just to give you a quick reference here. So this was the Jibun Light that I used in 2020 as an example here. And you can see it's a weekly layout divided down by time. And that's great if I only had one thing I needed to squeeze in there, but I really needed to squeeze in more notes about what I'm doing in those time slots. So that's why last year for 2021, I went into what's called the Jibun Techo Days. And I marked one here. Can't show my work stuff, so I marked a blank page. I usually don't itemize out my Saturdays and Sundays. So you'll see how much more room, even though this is still a B6, you'll see how much more room I have in here to make the notes that I need. So I'm able to jot down the time. For example, I have a lot of English students early in the morning. I work Japan time and Singapore time, as well as late at night. And then my volunteer work during the day, I'm able to itemize here. And any notes that I need or tasks that I must complete that day, I have plenty of room to mark them, or so I thought. Well, this year I doubled the amount of students I have, and a lot of them are in 30-minute increments. So the amount of space that I needed for their curriculum on the side has also doubled in size. So I did figure that I needed something a little bit bigger for next year. Now, the difference with the days versus, say, the light is the whole year, January through December, is in this one compact little book here. And initially, that was great for me. And then last year, 2021, the thing with the days is they are divided up into two books. So this is my January through June. I kept the original cover that just came from Jibun Techo, and that was my first half of the year. The second half of the year, I did buy a cover. I was hoping to be back in the office by this time, but as we know, with wonderful COVID, it's thrown a monkey wrench in things. So I've used this at home, and I'll be using this one through the end of 2021. So since that has filled up so quickly this year, I did go ahead and decide to try out the new A5 size starting for 2022. So just like this one here, it is divided up into two books. So when it comes in your package, you'll have one that includes the clear cover on cover, and then you have that's your January through June, and then the July through December is the raw edge cover that can slip into this later in the year. So I'll go ahead and take this one off. One thing that I had gotten earlier in the year is this A5 memo. I figured this was really nice to use. I'll show this in a minute as well. This memo book is by the same company. And since it's an A5 size, that planner will fit in here as well. And that's going to be good for the office for me. All right, so let me get it out of the plastic and I'll be right back. So this is how the two look straight out of the package. One has the cover for the first half of the year, and then you can choose to transfer this into this cover, or you can just buy a separate cover for it as well. Since it is a standard A5 size, it will also fit in covers such as those made by Hobonichi. And if you watch my channel, you know I have plenty of those. So I did not buy a separate cover for this one, but also I may end up putting it in my systemic, and I'll show you that later. That one is from Kokuyo. So covers, I'm fine for next year. To explain a little bit about how Kokuyo is set up is the original version is set up as a system type of planner. They have extra books like these. One is called Life and one is called Idea. I don't use the Life books, so I've never purchased those, but I do use these Idea books. These are great to just to jot down quick notes for reference during an office meeting or something like that. I've been writing like my Zoom passwords, Zoom meeting room codes, and Zoom passwords. And you'll find that these Idea books, this one is the A5, slips very nicely, fits perfectly in this back cover. Let me get the... So they slip perfectly into the clear cover on cover that comes with it. Now, both of the books are actually this color on the cover. This is just a piece of cardstock in here. So if you really wanted to get really decorative, you could use designer paper. I wouldn't say cardstock. Cardstock's probably going to be too thick, but that designer paper that you see at Hobby Lobby and Michael's, you can cut that to size and slip it in here if you're wanting something a little dressier on your cover. So this part just slides off. And now we'll look at the layouts. So this is typically what you would carry for January through June. It has a pocket right here in the front, and in that pocket, I usually carry this little stencil. It's very handy for the squares that are inside of the Jibun Techo. And this stencil works for both sizes. It works for the B6 and it works for the A5. So it's a nice universal little template. It has some card slots here. You can put some washi tape. Also, I have some little sticker sheets for dates that fit into these slots really well. So the first page, you can put your name. You have a nice overall look of 2021, the whole year of 2022, and then future logging for 2023. A nice overview of the entire year, so you can log different events. My dream 2022, any events that you have in 2022. And this one is per month, but you don't have to have it that way. But the way they have this set up, this symbol right here means month in Japanese. So they go by 1 through 12. And then there's also, say, 1 or 2 events. Maybe somebody's planning a wedding and they give you that date way ahead of time. You also have 2023 and 2024 right there. Then there's the wish list. I love to put down like my planner supply wish list in here. And then just any list that you like. You can put like a budget tracker of things that you've purchased, or maybe the list of favorite movies or favorite books of that year. So you have, and you can title these other pages if you want as well to be something separate. They don't all have to be the same list. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 list pages. This is my favorite part of this planner. It is the monthly overview. So I lay out all my meetings on this page, but then the Gantt chart. I use this every single month for tracking hours, whatever I need for work, for volunteer work, all different types of hours that I need to track. I do that right here in this Gantt chart. This thing is very, very helpful to have, And then at the end of the month, I'm able to summarize my hours at the end of the month over here. So that is, now how this is divided, since it is in 2 separate books for the year, is the Gantt chart part goes through June, since this is your January through June book. But they do provide the large calendars for the entire year, all within this one book. So that's really nice. You can still future plan out your year, even though you're not carrying your second book yet. So every month there is a nice layout in the front of what you're planning, and then your month in review or what you want to improve on for the following month. Every month has this in the front. Now, if you want a translation for this, JetPens has a really nice translation page on their website. I'll try to make sure to link their translation page below. I meant to post one last year and I never got around to it, so we'll just depend on JetPens for that one. So last year, some were concerned because they thought every page was going to be read like this, because last year's kind of opened up similarly. Well, majority of the pages are very nice neutral. Let me, if I can open the one, here we go. This is what your usual weekly daily spread will look like. It's this nice neutral gray. What they do in here is holidays and Sundays are marked in red. So since this is January 1st as a holiday in most countries, it is marked in red. So that's why it starts off in red, but the whole book is not this color. And then the following day is a Sunday, so you'll see that one is also in red. But then from Monday, it goes into the gray pages. So your regular week is in a nice neutral gray. So this is the typical Saturday and Sunday. Saturdays will be blue, Sundays will be red. So it kind of gives you a quick visual of where you are during the week. The other nice thing it does is if you're, say, you want to keep track of the exact number of days in the year, or you want to keep track of your weeks and you're trying to count down to a special event, this planner is really great for those type of countdowns. Say for example, you're getting married in, I don't know, let's pick a Saturday in the month of March. Let's go to March. So say you're getting married on March the 12th. So that's going to be day 71 of the year, but you're on January 13th. So you're able to subtract your 71 from your 13 to find out exactly how many days you have until your wedding or the birth of a baby, for example. The other example would be, say you're going by the number of weeks. So say the baby is going to be born, or the wedding is the week of, is going to be in the 10th week of the year. And over here, you're in the 2nd week of the year. So you know real quick that you have 8 weeks from where you're at on January 13th to where you're going to be for your wedding on March the 12th. So it's really quick, fun reference to have to be able to gauge where you are at in the year in reference to your special occasions. That's another reason why I really love this calendar. It's such a practical setup. You also have the moon phases, if you track that. We have a special occasion that we track, usually lands in March or April. So I love watching the moon phases. You can track the weather. They give you some symbols that you can circle or highlight here. And then right here is where I usually write the temperatures. And so this continues through the whole year. And if you look on the side, they have these little divot marks. So they're marked in gray. So that's January, February, March, April, May, June. So if I go all the way to the end of that June, you'll see that's where it ends. And it just has one or 2 little pieces of grid paper in the very back. Therefore, the need for the expansion notebook. So this is the idea notebook, and I forget exactly how many pages are in it. I usually switch them out at the 6-month mark, just because I keep them with each of these planners, because that usually goes with it. So it's been plenty of pages for me to use at the end of my journal. So that's a nice extra little notebook to have on hand with it, that you can switch out for the extra one, because it does come in a 2-pack. So there are 2 idea books that come in that package. And so I think if you buy this one from Jet Pens, it's like $11.50 for the 2-pack. I got mine on Amazon Japan, but honestly, by the time you factor in the price of shipping from Japan, it really comes out to be about the same price. Actually, this year for Jibun Techo, I believe it is cheaper to get the system directly from Jet Pens than from Amazon Japan. It's not always the case. For example, Hobonichi, for me, it's usually a little bit cheaper to get directly from Hobonichi, but Jet Pens, especially with the Jibun Techo, I found it to be maybe about $8 less to get it through Jet Pens. Okay, so the other one that I just wanted to show on the side, again, I'm not totally sure that this is how I'm going to use it, but it is the idea. This is the systemic. It's actually not part of their planner system. It's more part of just an office system that they have. What I love is there's this pocket in the front, so you can tuck in anything that you need or that you have going on that just needs to be a quick reference paper. I get those at the office all the time, so it's nice to have something like that. But this is the section that I was talking about. So here is where their notepads fit. You can do a A5 size notepad that can tuck in here. Their campus notebooks that they sell. But what you can also do is, say the front cover of this one, for example, you can slide this in here and it's a perfect fit. So then when I open it up, it just goes straight into this book. I have my planning book there, and then I have an additional notebook for any office notes right here. And this, of course, is refillable with them as well. I can always change this out at any time. They have multiple bookmarks. You can even stick another notebook in there. Nice little slot here. I can put a washi card, anything like that. These are really, really functional. And then this little elastic will keep everything sealed. So again, the name of this is called Systemic. And while I'm here at the house, I probably won't use this as much, but I know when I go back to the office, this is definitely what I'll be taking, because it gives me that extra notebook space to have my planner, but also any notes that I need to keep in order with me. So this is a very traditional Japanese notebook where you have these little dots, and so you can just take your ruler and divide them. And so it makes it nice because you can divide these pages into columns. So if you wanted a list on one side, pros and cons, it's really great for that, especially when you're weighing those types of things at the office. You can have 2 columns very easily. They give you those nice little dots that you can line up your ruler and have a perfectly divided out page. So it's really good. This one is called the 2-ring notebook edge title. So this one has 50 sheets in it. And again, it's totally removable as well. And in this one, on this side as well, you can use just a regular notepad that you can drop in, because this part is split. So you can use a fold over notebook if you prefer that for your work as well. It's really nice that every notebook you put in here, they have additional bookmarks, so you can really keep your place of where you're at. This book that I have already has bookmarks in it, so don't know if I'll be using those, but we'll see. I also meant to insert this. Behind that notebook is a slot where you can put more paper, as well as 3 additional card slots. There is also a large elastic pen loop here. So really any pen, any size will fit in that. So again, this is an A5 idea book. It is slightly smaller than the A5 planner because it has to fit into that cover that slides in the back. So this is my July through December, and in here has my January through June. So if you have any other questions about the days, the 2022 A5 days, feel free to post any questions below. I'm probably going to do a follow-up video on it with better comparisons of my other Jibun Techos from over the years. And I'll make sure to post some pictures here of the interior as well. Well, if you enjoy your Jibun Techo as well, or you're going to try out the days, please give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.